Okay, so I am here VOD reviewing real quick. Austin set. This was HomeZz versus Havard at Climax of Night. I think this was losers something of their pool. I forget where. Finals, maybe? I forget. So we've got this matchup. It's not a safe favorite, right? Akatsuki has a bit of issue dealing with fireballs and stuff like that. Although, Nanase has to think a little bit harder during her fireball pressure because he can challenge with like parry in spots where normally characters kind of have to hold it. So definitely have to think about that a little bit harder. But the risk reward on parry is still like not crazy good. It's just something you need to think about. So I can't say I'm super knowledgeable on this matchup. I've only probably seen it a couple times, but we'll just see what I notice. All right, the round start was like micro dash 5B and jump forward J6C, right? So let's see. Yeah, I like that because, Akatsuki, especially Havard, likes to hold forward and that kind of stuff. Likes to jump a lot. Akatsuki has a lot of good air movement stuff, so makes sense. Playing against Akatsuki, you kind of have to scout a lot for how much they want to use J6C in Abari positions or like to escape or in neutral and stuff like that, because it can definitely low crush a bunch of stuff or even like crush a bunch of mids if you're not ready for it. So something to be on top of. So the Micro Dash 5B is a good option to beat that. I don't know if there's anything slightly less committal because I feel like that round start would lose to a lot of like pokes, but I guess you don't really have to worry about that against Akatsuki. Like he's not doing like a round start poke that hits you necessarily from round start distance if you don't move. So he's probably not like sticking out 5B or anything like that necessarily. But I'm not sure. I'm not super familiar with Akatsuki round start. Not ready to convert off of it though. Can't say I blame you because it is an awkward hit, but probably could be holding like up forward for like an auto hit confirm there, right? And then go into just like a simple air string because it's auto hit confirm because like if you get on block then you just get 5B no cancel, but that's fine. So Oki, immediate overhead, pretty good timing on it. It looked like it was quite meaty. Okay, there you're seeing it again. Good stuff here. Easy peasy. Okay, DP. Definitely seeing good rotation of like how where you are on offense. Like a little bit of a delay there. I don't know what you're looking for, if not specifically that. Maybe just like trying to throw off a OS timing. Like maybe it was like you were gonna assault or something. I don't know, but for me, I like my layer 1 against DP characters is like bait DP or not bait DP, but this is also a fine layer 1. I just am not quite sure what you were. There's a bunch of timings, OS timings or something you could be looking for there, so it's still like really early in the set. So DP, I like the 2A timing. Good 2C. I think in situations like that, definitely it's like kind of scrambly, but I think, you could be just like empty buffering a button behind that for a hit confirm, like no matter what, because like if you do a 2C right there, there's no reason to not be like buffering, I don't know, sword car 5C or something behind it just in case you do hit, so that this doesn't happen and you get no combo. But it's not a big deal. ADP? Was that ADP? I think that's ADP with no meter. I could be wrong. Alright, nice. Probably 8-year input there, I'm assuming, because you probably wanted to move faster off the EXDP. I like the run under. I don't like the shield. I think maybe you were caught between two decisions here, probably. So yeah, you saw him. At this point, you're only seeing him like. I wish you could see my mouse. At this point, you're not like recognizing the assault quite yet this early, but so you shield here, but the spacing isn't quite right for stand shield. I think you should have just committed more to running out of the corner further. And if you like jump back buttons, like you stop before that, or you just like block it, or you just gamble that he doesn't do it. Because this is pretty bad what ends up happening, right? Like, it could have been worse. Could have been worse. Because I'm looking at, like, you whiff shield here. If he doesn't, like, assault quite as high into his jump, or like quite as late, maybe, then it's like he could land earlier, and maybe he could have taken his turn there. But he's pretty keen on giving it up right there. So kind of a scary scramble. I think you should have just committed harder to either standing in place, stand shield, or dash under. I think you had to commit to one of those two, right? Or like an anti-air. I mean, in those scenarios where you're not really sure if your anti-air is going to like beat out their thing, you can always like just, I don't know, fucking anti-air DP even, right? Or reliable. But I think this worked out pretty fine. Some pressure. What's the mix? Just okay. So it was like no cancel, and then we got So I'm not crazy familiar with non-SA pressure, right? I'm not like super keen expert, but I think I kind of understand it. Is this so? This is 2C whiff 2A, and then TK fireball, right? Why not just like 2C force function then fireball? Surely that's like better on block, right? Like less of a gap. I feel like this is a huge gap. But I mean it works because he does up forward. J6C, I assume. I wasn't paying attention. Yeah, he does up forward J6C. If he does like 5B there, or 6C, or any button that's not like 2C or something, right, that hits like decently mid, I feel like that's pretty scary for you. Or even if he like, I don't know, the jump forward was a pretty crusty option, but I think if you're going for that kind of pressure, you're either like trying to bait like throw tech, right, with the TK fireball, or you're trying to reset, like hoping they'll block and they'll let you get the reset fireball for more pressure. If you're doing like the throw tech bait one, like you should probably like whiff 2A, then run up first, then TK fireball, because like he's not scared of it from that range. And if you're just going for like, I hope he blocks, I want my plus frames, then you should probably just 2C FF, force function fireball, right? I feel like that's better on block than whiff 2A, then TK fireball. That would be my guess. So while I think this like worked because he picked a kind of silly option, I think either of those like would be better ideas. I think it's probably a little bit of an issue of like autopiloting, maybe. Like I was talking about this the other day in the Fargo chat. Like autopiloting a mid-ground option that, while it is like maybe safer, doesn't necessarily cover any of the specific scenarios as well, or threaten like a really like doesn't necessarily threaten something that they feel like they need to respond to. Here he's committing really early, so it works regardless, but that's the impression I get, is maybe think a little bit harder about which thing you want to do and then tailor your string more to that. Easy peasy, confirmed, nice. Good first round. Maybe your situation's pretty even. He has enough for one cancel. Again with the dash up 5B, I like it. I think it's pretty good because akatsuki is not really going to stick at a button that like would be fast enough to catch it, unless he's like whiffing 5B and hoping you dash into it, which is a pretty bad idea. He does dash. Is it like, it's like dash, hesitate, and then button, it looks like. I can't really tell. Maybe it was like a really slow micro dash 5B or just dash 5B. Either way, good option. Ready for the confirm this time. I like it. All right. So that is really important. We're thinking now, okay, like this situation is like one of those like really as good as it gets like mix up situations mid screen, right? For non-SA, where it's like you basically enforce plus frames with a crazy mix up behind it. Your layer one is dash up in front of it, throw. This is a good layer one, I think, because it's relatively safe, right? Like they're probably not mashing on it because of the threat of fireball, and if they tech, it's not the biggest deal in the world. You're mid screen, like you're gonna eat a little bit of pressure or whatever. but it's not like corner pressure or anything. You do lose some grid for it, but that's fine. So this is the layer 1. What can we get from this? That's his tech timing, right? Or at least he's at bare minimum ready for that. Kind of looks like a stand tech to me, personally, but I'm not sure. So I am hoping to see the next RPS you rotate where you do the throw, like, or whatever mix up, and what you do, and or one of those two. So like maybe next time dash up assault, see if he's stand teching. If he stand techs, he like dies for it. If it's like, can Akatsuki do force function stand tech or force function tech OS? I know Linne can. I assume he would be able to, but I don't know if that's a thing Akatsuki players do or not. But yeah, so I just would like to see what you're looking for next. Okay, so he takes his pressure. Kind of an aggressive. I assume that's like a button here, thinking he's gonna throw you. Kind of aggressive, but you know, after those throw tech situations, kind of scary. Oh, very scary. Didn't shield the right part of it, but that's fine. I like that. I like that a lot. That was really good timing on a mash. Just respecting this, that's fine. No stand shield, but I don't know what the frame data on that for on stand shield is from rising. It could be like still even. It's probably not still plus because it's so high up. But I would look into that. Maybe you could take your turn back if you stand shield that. Kind of a scary reset to challenge though. You can always DP, but like that's like pretty hard to do on reaction there. You just got chain shift, so I wouldn't expect you to like react frame 1 that you have chain shift. If you're really paying attention, it could be something you could be mashing VO on as soon as you see him up forwarding, but also pretty scary. As with stand shield, if you like just is empty jump holding back, right? But I like this option for now. So the 2A, kind of recognizing that there's gonna be like a delay there for like a throw or like a reset instead of like a frame trap. Good mash timing. Keeping it simple. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty tough. So let's look at this. I don't like using the CS here. I feel like I just kind of don't like going for. I think going for like a metered / CS reset at this point in the cycle is kind of handing over the cycle in a place where like I would still be vying for it. Like what you could do instead here is like of course meter dump into plus frames instead of CS dump, but that does give him a lot of grid and still swings it, but it would swing it less than using chain shift. So that might be something you would want to do first, but the situation after might not be quite as good, I guess. But I don't necessarily like going for this at this point in the cycle, just because it's like unless he really fumbles the bag, he's gonna win CS again here, or he's gonna win CS here. And in my opinion, this is a pretty like a misread on what your opponent is doing here. Like from what I've seen so far, he's been playing pretty defensively outside of like scrambly situations or when he's really feeling pressed. And for me, after I get this hit and I do this, I see he blocks it, I see he blocks that, I'm not necessarily thinking he's going to challenge immediately, especially not from this range. He doesn't have very many good challenges, right? Like, he can up forward, but that's been getting blown up a lot, right? So like when you do this is like 2 and 4, right? When you do this 2 and 4, it's like this is surely like an option of like, I really think he's going to press something and I want to blow it up no matter what it is, like that kind of thing. Same reason you would do like sword car or something here against a character who you know their pokes can't reach you here, but you think they want to get out somehow. But that's kind of a misread because your opponent has been kind of tending to play more chilled out in these kind of situations, and I think that's a good play on his part. So I think this is kind of not a great read, but happens. But it's also one of those situations where I feel like the risk reward of this read was really miscalculated, because like this is sure a safe option, but you're losing yourself a lot in the long run. You're going to lose the cycle, and he's going to like take his turn back pretty soon, and it's going to be pretty bad. Whereas if you like play it quote unquote a little bit more riskier, where it's like you kind of sit here at this range and try to like get in, like try to reset your pressure with something else, like another dash up or an assault, or like going back to neutral a little bit, but like a slightly advantage neutral from you for this range, right? I think any of those are better because you don't lose the CS at all, and you know that your opponent is playing like pretty safe in those exact scenarios, because he's only really shown like one mash, and he's shown a lot of up forward J6C, but you've really scared him off of it, it looks like so far. I mean, you've punished it consistently pretty much every time. Not to say you shouldn't still be looking for it, but yeah, I think this is kind of like a autopilot a little bit. This is like a tournament thing where it's like, okay, it's a tournament. I want to do as many layers of my safe pressure as I can until I run out of resources, which isn't necessarily always good, because you're going to lose resources in the end if they just block it all out, right? Which does happen. So I think this is one of those situations where maybe playing in tournament, you're kind of scared to do riskier resets, kind of bites you in the ass, right? So I would say don't be afraid to like play into your opponent more. At the end of the day, this is a lot of RPS. You have to like read your opponent. You have to condition them. You can't win by just playing at your opponent if your opponent is good. If you're just playing at your opponent, like they will just pick the theoretically right options every time, like the most correct, best risk reward, and they'll just blow you up. So this is one of those times. So yeah. And then he DPs out on the reset. Very good from him. Now he looks fantastic. He's got pressure. He's got cycle here in a couple seconds. DP. All right. Fair enough. In my opinion, I wouldn't have reversal at all here, because if I'm the akatsuki, I super bait this, because it feels like a time where it's like you feel like you got to do something to get back in this because you're about to lose cycle, and you're on knockdown. But if you do decide to reversal, I think reversal VO is a way better idea. Just because you like would win cycle off of it pretty much. But that's fair. So wait, I want to look at this one more time. So yeah, you mash on that. The timings for him right there are really good, because that had a really similar timing to like a 2A throw or a 5B no cancel dash up throw or something. So it looks like right now you're getting opened up a little bit more consistently than he is, because you're really afraid of the dash up throws where he hasn't shown them. I think one thing that is okay to autopilot in a tournament to start with is like, don't be afraid to like take a throw the first time or so. Like don't look for it quite as hard as you are right here right away, because he hasn't shown it yet, but you've mashed on a lot of what you thought were throw attempts and taken a lot of damage for it. Or you could just be rotating a different option there. Like you don't have to mash if you think throw is coming. You can veil off, you can backdash. Backdash might have worked here. 2C might have caught it, but veil off definitely would have worked here, that kind of thing. So I think maybe think a little bit harder about what your first reaction to a scary situation is. So hopefully we see some adaptation here, because this is the second time you got blown up by that. Good combo from him. This is a crusty setup. Really scary crouch tech, but that's all right. VO. Oh, that's really scary. I forget how minus that is. I want to look it up. Izumi. Nanase. Do. Special moves. Sword car. Stab. Minus 7 to +2. So from that range, it definitely wasn't plus. I guess it was pretty safe because he couldn't shield it because he's grid broken from the VO. But I'm a little perplexed you don't spend VO or spend part of your VO timer for just like 2 and 4C plus frames here. Because you're gonna use it or lose it at this point, right? Like this just struck me as a little bit risky. Like I wouldn't have been willing to give up my turn there necessarily. Very scary, but that's fine. Maybe practice your Bitatsu shield timings, because it looks like the first time he shielded early, that time he shielded pretty late. So practice shield punishing that probably. Oh, nerves. That's fine though. Oh, that wasn't meaty enough. Yeah. Oh, but the drop. Oh yeah. Again, scared of the throw, but he hasn't even thrown you once, I don't think. Really scary situation though. Okay, so now he micro dash 5Bs. Or like dash 5Bs. And you do fireball. Why? I don't really get the fireball around start. Because he's not really been doing lows. Especially that looked like up forward. I think up back is like almost always better. I think against a character where you have like this long range tool where your fireball can enforce plus frames from so far away in like a good neutral situation, and also you have the superior round start pokes, you should be doing either round start poke, like, or in this case like maybe micro dash 5B, or you should be doing like jump back fireball set kind of stuff. One of those two are like feels like your best risk reward, right? Because like the up back and then fireball set at some point, I'm not sure where the optimal point would be, is going to be like really hard for Akatsuki to challenge at round start. So that's like your safe, like start taking my advantage in neutral option. If they dash block, it's still a pretty good situation for you, but that's like their best response to that probably. And if they button, they just like whiff and you gain hella momentum. So I think this was a questionable choice, but maybe it was a read or something. Good 5B from that range. Unfortunate. Yeah, bad timing on this. Just not quite meaty. I think maybe in situations where you're not sure the tech timing, like especially mid-screen, maybe try not to go to the dash B dash C stuff so quickly. Because it is kind of finicky, and it's like a situation you don't really want to, like, I don't want to in tournament necessarily be like, did I quite get that timing meaty enough to where it's like plus or good or whatever, that kind of stuff. Like it's kind of finicky. So I would like in tournament, I like more stable setups. I probably would have just made it with the button, but you got big reward off it in the first round. So I understand going back to it, but kind of a punisher. Let's see the combo. I throw KD. All right, let's look at the cycle here. So it's almost 3/4 the way through, and he's got slight advantage. Let's see how it plays out. Okay. I will say this is kind of a scary time for it, but I think it's worth practicing fuzzy mashing on A Tatsu and B Tatsu, right? You fuzzy mash in between where the first and second hits would be. If they go for a reset, you mash on the reset because it's minus. And if it's B Tatsu, you don't get frame trapped or anything like that, because it's like true block stun. However, you do have to be careful for ranges where A Tatsu is like even or plus, but this is not. It could be too. It could be spaced out enough. I'm not sure, but I would be thinking about it at least. Blocking it out is not a bad option at all, though, for sure. All right, that again, no response really. The mash is so rough. I think you need to be looking to shield more, honestly. You did win cycle here, but it was quite close. And it was really close. If he assaults there at the end, or anything really. Like, he wins cycle. Kind of a flub on both your parts, in my opinion. Him not like trying to win cycle hard enough on his pressure there, like when you kind of just sat there and let him do whatever he wanted, and you on not shielding anything. Like, you had a couple really good shield spots here. Like, if you shield that, it's pretty big, but can't really do it on reaction necessarily. And if you get green shield, you like turbo explode. So I understand the hesitation. If you shield this, it's really big. If you shield like any of the 2A pressure kind of stuff, it's really big. But they're all risky in their own right? But like the J6C is probably like your safest. Like, you can like maybe react to that. But I think you should have been looking for it at some point. Maybe even like a dash block to get a little bit. And another thing, as soon as you're in the corner against Akatsuki, fireball pressure becomes really, really, really strong, right? Because you can fireball, and it like frame traps at a lot of distances, and is like the A fireball pseudo frame traps, because you generally aren't going to have pokes that like reach fast enough to contest the fireball and also don't get blown up by the fireball. And if it's the A fireball, it'll be like slightly plus, and he'll be able to like, reset, go into more pressure. It's very scary, but it's really good if you like shield the button before fireball, mash out, or you shield the fireball, and it gives you more leeway to mash out if you want to. But mashing on the fireball is how you explode. So like, as soon as you're in the corner, I would say, I know you blocked a lot in a row, so it's definitely like a delayed response to like, okay, I need out already. But you did just win cycle, but like, not that you probably reacted to it in that amount of time. But as soon as I'm in the corner against Akatsuki, I'm like, okay, I have to be 10 times more careful about mashing, because he has a really good reset option in fireball. And sure enough, 5C fireball. You try to 2C or something and you get toasted. And there's a big combo. And the VO strip, and you're probably dead. Oh, well, if he doesn't drop it. Oh, that's such a big drop. Oh, man. And you strip. It's nice. I like it. Okay, this time you spend the cash. Oh, but the fireball reset. I don't like the fireball resets, because especially backwards. The fireball resets are really greedy against Akatsuki in particular, who has so many like good pokes that don't get low crush. Like, he's got Tatsu, he's got 5B, he's got 6C if he's really feeling it. He's got 5C, all that kind of stuff. He's got like good jump forward buttons. All these which he's trying to get out with consistently. We've seen, I don't know if I've seen him mash out with 2C yet. So like, thinking he won't do a mid poke is wishful thinking. Good dash block. Good shield. Just guarantee yourself that cycle. Oh, the green shield. Probably not what you wanted there. See, and he's even looking for the fuzzy mash there, but your fuzzy mash was a little bit slow on it. Like, so not a fuzzy mash, but I would practice that a little bit. It's worth practicing for sure. And again, we've seen in those mix-up situations, just dash up throw at like a pretty normal timing. He's looking for it with crouch tech or stand tech or something. We don't even know what yet. So again, I would like to see the next time rotating some other option to bait that. Whether it's dash up then assault, or dash up backdash to make him whiff a button maybe, or dash up 2A frame trap, something like that. But as it is, it's really bad. Losing game 1 really sucks, but if we're going into game 2 with better information on where our opponent is teching, or like what their habits are, it's not so bad. But we're going into game 2. Not only did you lose because you like relied on the autopilot a lot, but also you didn't gain any information. It would be nice if we at least gained information off of the round 1 loss, right? Or the game 1. I didn't see the round start situation. Backdash, not bad. And kind of sort of whiff punish with sword car. Again, same thing. Not going to go over it again. The shield was pretty good there. No shield on that. Yeah, still, I think that was shield mash, right? Shield mash, yeah, still not good enough from that range. It's going to trade unfavorably. Probably just like, yeah, I mean, it's kind of RPS. If he rebeats there, then you're right. If he fireballs there, then you trade like this. This trade isn't so bad. Optimally, it would be nice to be able to like shield the fireball or something though, right? Yeah, so he's using Bitatsu in a lot of really good situations where, you know, he's got like this pseudo pressure here from this range. Like right here, he's slightly advantaged, and he wants to keep you in the corner. His Bitatsu covers pretty much everything here. It's relatively safe. It covers sword car, it covers up forward, it covers up back probably. It covers like might cover stand button, might not. Hard to tell. I think it's okay in this situation. Even though you teched back, you still won cycle. So like in this situation, even though you know, like you're correct in identifying that he like doesn't have a great knockdown here, but he's still advantaged in this. So maybe be less jumpy to get out of pressure, right? Or to even get out of what is, this is pretty weak. Like he's advantaged right here, right? But like it's pretty weak advantage, right? Like if he really wants to threaten you, like your escape option, he has to Bitatsu or like dash up 5B, dash up 2C or something, right? Which are all good, but like it's not exactly threatening like strike throw mix up or any kind of good mix up, right? In my opinion, what you do here is you sit here, you wait to see what the like, hey, you gotta sit still option is, and then you have a really good opportunity to CS and take your turn back. But instead, try to sword car out. He should get a full combo there. Good sword car, identifying the backdash. It didn't quite punish, but he was trying to do something else after. Yeah, he's kind of got your like he's got the right read on what you're resetting with and when. Good combo from him. Good blocks. No shields. Now he's doing the throw. I'm surprised he even starts going for throw considering his pressure's working so well, but it looked like you were blocking a lot there, so that makes sense. And now you're going to mash. Yeah, the defense needs work for sure. Whoa, that beats that. I mean, that's just knowledge situation. Nice. I like that. I like that a lot. So, okay, now we have a better idea of what our opponent's doing here. So, he's scared of dash up to a throw or something right here, right? You dash up, nothing. Hey, it looks like he's maybe force function tech OSing or just like crouch force functioning on a read, or maybe he's like, I don't know. Either way, you see what he's doing in that situation right there. Now you have information because you waited, you know, you could have potentially given up your turn. Wouldn't have been that big a deal because you're up on the cycle a little bit and like at a range where he's not super, super scary because he has to like fully dash up to throw you or something, right? So like this is always a really, really good bait to just see what he's doing in that timing because, you know, previously you've just gone for throw right away, and while it was pretty safe, it hasn't like told you anything about what he's doing. And now you know, okay, yeah, he is doing something here. Like he's OSing or mashing an option or something like that. So like assault would have worked here. This works here. You get a full punish. Beautiful. DP, fair enough. We haven't baited DP really yet for the most part. I think he's like 4 for 4 or like 3 for 3 or something like that. Like we've mostly been baiting with not down back. If you're gonna like shimmy sit in front of him here, like, yeah, fair enough. You're either baiting DP or you're not. Decide not to. Fair enough. But yeah, just wrong RPS, I guess. The DP back is so bad. Okay, he flubs the punish. You know, I always call it the UNICLR thing, but this is like in every fighting game. As soon as you get reversals, you want a reversal back. I would strongly urge you to fight the urge because it is really predictable. Because a lot of people do it. I always look for, well, okay, not always, but I look for it a lot. All right, we flipped the setup a little bit, but it's fine. Let's look at our pressure, and this wasn't the right timing for throw anyways. And if we whiff throw, he recognizes it, he mashes. That's pretty tough. I would like to see more assault, honestly, in those situations. Like, assault is so good. Like, you get a little bit of grid, and like you enforce your plus frames again and all that kind of stuff. And if he's like crouch teching or just like doing something else, it's a pretty nice scout. But in this situation where, like, you know, it was kind of a scrambler, so you probably weren't ready for the right fireball timing. It looks like you thought like the fireball would be out of block stun by now, which I don't think he was, even if you did make it in time. Maybe if you dashed all the way up, but either way you would have got mashed on probably. I would like to see assault there or something, right? Because he hasn't shown us an option that like beats assault yet. We've seen 2FF, we've seen maybe stand tech, we've seen 2A, we've seen not much 2C out of pressure. Sometimes we're seeing 5B out of pressure, but in those close-up situations, we haven't seen it very much. It's mostly been at the further out ranges, so I'd like to see more assault in that specific where it's like close-up enforcing plus frames. But, you know, just a little bit of a scramble, a little bit of flub, not a big deal. I like the DP, it was pretty raw. He whiffed throw. It had to be just bad timing on his part. He's going to lose cycle for it. Oh, gosh, that's so tough. Were we holding back here, or did we try to do a button after the 2A? It looked like we stood up, like maybe for like a dash up or something. I can't really it's hard to tell, but that's not the right thing. It's hard to tell. Maybe we're still in recovery of the 2A, but even if we were, make sure you're holding down back on those 2As like that, because it baits VO if it's timed more meaty than that, probably. But the UNICLR veil off. Theoretically, you die here. But you survive. Again, we're not buffering anything behind the 2C, like I said earlier. In my opinion, no reason to not be like empty buffering sword car after that exact kind of 2C, because it's like, you know, if you whiff, the sword car doesn't come out, but if you hit, even on block, you go into sword car. If it's on block, you go into your 2 and 4C plus frames. If it's on hit, you get a confirm here, and he might die, probably not, but you know, that's not gonna whiff much from there. Let's see it. Oh no! Yeah, that was just hard to recognize. Probably meant to dash up, or maybe you just thought it would hit from there. Fair enough. Could have sword card, probably too. Oh god, the scramble. Sure, stand tech, sure. Bunch of scrambles, but haven't shown an option that isn't like preemptive button on the jump forward JC yet. I would like to see more stand shield probably. I know it opens you up to other RPS, but like the other RPS is kind of good for you. Okay, solid. Weirder in start, but solid. That's so risky. I mean that follow-up's like, I want to say that follow-up's like -10, right? I shouldn't have closed the page. Zoom in on say. -18, really? It's probably spacing and like timing dependent, but man, that's so bad in the corner. It's more forgivable mid screen, but in the corner, I mean, at least stab, right? Like anything that's less risky than this. Good block on the assault. Good shield on the assault. Not quite the right confirm, but the idea was there. He drops 2. The VO was pretty good. Nice. Oh, did you run out of OTGs? Let's see. 1. Could have been 2. I don't know if that bounce counts as 2 also. I have no idea. Honestly, on Nanase combos sometimes. Looks like you ran out of OTGs probably, though. The jump back. I kind of like the jump back, honestly. It's really scary, but... jump back shield is good, too, but that's also good. Works out. I think in general, a problem you have is a lot of low mash out of pressure. And low mash out of pressure is really, really good. Like 2C, 2B, especially with Nanase. Nice, just reading that he messed up the timing or that it wasn't going to work like that. Are you dead? You should be dead. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. Definitely a habit of yours is like, Nanase has good mid, like, pokes. She has a good 5B. It's not quite as big as 2C or 2B, right? But it's still quite good. 5C is still quite big also. Sword Car is at least a little bit better in those scenarios. But I think you need to rotate in those Abari situations more than 2B, 2C. Like, your opponent has shown a lot of trying to blow that specifically up. Gotta be looking for it, right? Yeah, and you die for it, so. Good set. Definitely could have gone your way with a couple more things. But yeah, I would like more of that, like, less I'm playing, this is how you play the game safely, and it blows up people who are losing to your layer 1, and more trying to figure out what their layer 1 is, or their layer 2, and playing around that. I would like more scouting for information rather than, like, safe autopiloting kind of stuff, I think. And, like, I super do that in tournament too, right? So I understand. I think that's kind of maybe the biggest takeaway from this set. And it's just like, and you're pressuring your defense, restructuring it to your opponent faster, that kind of thing. I mean, I would have liked to see more, like, veil off or backdash in the middle of pressure. You pretty much only represent those, like, on wake up, whereas, like, there were a lot of times you got hit on staggers, guessing on strike throw, where veil off would have beat both, kind of thing. So I think just challenging some of your, like, deep-seated, like, this is what I'm scared of here, this is what I do, my first reaction and those kind of things, tailoring it more to your character that you're fighting against and more to your opponent. So yeah, hopefully this was helpful, and thanks for asking me to VOD review.